Have you ever loved someone so much that you could picture your entire future with them, clear as day? I did. Her name was Alara. We met in college, in the most cliché way possible, bumping into each other in the library, sending a tower of books crashing to the floor. Her laugh, as she helped me pick them up, was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. From that day on, we were inseparable. We shared everything. Our dreams, our fears, our late-night pizza cravings. We planned it all out. We'd graduate, I'd start my career as an architect. She'd open her own little bookstore cafe. We'd buy a small house with a big garden for a goofy golden retriever we'd name Barnaby. We even picked out the color for the front door. A cheerful, welcoming yellow. It felt so real, so tangible. Our love was the foundation, and we were building our life, brick by brick, dream by dream. Our relationship was easy. Not in a boring way, but in a way that felt like coming home. We'd spend hours just talking, sometimes about profound philosophical questions. Other times about which superhero would be the worst roommate. We had our own little traditions. Sunday morning pancake extravaganzas, Tuesday night horror movie marathons, and spontaneous road trips whenever the mood struck. She had this way of looking at me, a mixture of adoration and mischief, that made me feel like the only person in the world. I was completely, utterly, and irrevocably in love. Then came the anniversary of our 3rd year together. I had it all planned. I'd saved up for months and bought a delicate silver locket, the one she'd admired in a shop window weeks before. Inside, I'd placed a tiny, folded-up picture of us from our first road trip, smiling like idiots in front of a giant roadside dinosaur. I was going to propose, not with a ring, not yet, but with a promise. A promise of forever. That morning, she texted me, "Can't wait for tonight. Got a little surprise for you too. See you at our spot at 7. Love you." Our spot was a small, secluded bench by the lake where we'd had our first real, deep conversation. The anticipation was killing me all day. I rehearsed what I was going to say 100 times, my heart doing flips in my chest. This was it, the beginning of our forever. I got to the bench at 6:45, the locket heavy in my pocket, my palms sweating. 7 o'clock came and went. Then 7:15, I figured she was running late, maybe stuck in traffic. I sent a text, "Hey, are you close? The Swans are putting on a show for us." No reply. At 7:30, I started to worry. This was unlike her. She was the most punctual person I knew. I called her phone. Straight to voicemail. I called again. And again, voicemail. A knot of pure ice formed in my stomach. I called her best friend, Maya. "Have you heard from Alara?" I asked, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. Maya said she'd spoken to her that afternoon, and she sounded excited, bubbling with energy about our anniversary. Nothing seemed wrong. Nothing at all. By 9 p.m., I was frantic. I drove to her apartment. Her car was in its usual spot. I used the spare key she'd given me, my hands trembling so badly I could barely get it in the lock. "Ella," I called out, my voice echoing in the silent apartment. Everything was exactly as it should be. Her coat was on the hook, a half-finished cup of tea was on the kitchen counter, and her laptop was open to a half-written email. But she wasn't there. Her purse was on the table. Her keys were next to it. Her phone, the one I'd been calling relentlessly, was lying on the charger. Who leaves without their phone, their keys, their purse? It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. There was no note, no sign of a struggle, nothing out of place. It was just empty. The silence in that apartment was deafening, a physical weight pressing down on me. The next few days, weeks, and months were a blur of police stations, missing person posters, and sleepless nights. I answered the same questions over and over. Was she unhappy? Was there anyone else? Did you two fight? No, no, and no. Our life was perfect. Or so I had believed. The police were professional, but eventually the leads dried up. There were no witnesses, no digital trail, no activity on her bank accounts. Ilara had ceased to exist. I became obsessed. I spent every waking moment trying to find a clue, anything the police might have missed. I reread our old text messages, thousands of them, searching for a hidden meaning, a secret she might have been keeping. I talked to every single person we knew, digging for any shred of information. Did she mention a trip, a problem, a secret? Nothing. It was a complete and total dead end. Her family was devastated, but after a while, they started to drift away, lost in their own grief. My friends tried to help, tried to get me to move on. "You can't live your life like this," they'd say gently. But how could I? How do you move on from a ghost? How do you close a chapter when you don't even know how the story ends? Alara wasn't gone in the way people are usually gone. She was a question mark, a puzzle with a missing piece that was the size of my whole heart. Years passed, 5 of them. I finished my degree, I started my career, I moved to a new city, trying to outrun the memories. But I never stopped looking. On her birthday, and on the anniversary of her disappearance, I would go online, checking forums for unidentified persons, scrolling through cold cases, hoping for a miracle. The yellow front door, Barnaby the dog, the bookstore cafe, those dreams faded into pale, painful whispers. One evening, I was idly scrolling through a travel blog, a habit I'd picked up to feel some semblance of escape. The post was about a small, remote village in the mountains of a foreign country, famous for its handmade pottery. And then I saw it. A picture of a crowded market square. In the background, partially obscured by a fruit stand, was a woman with her back to the camera. She was arranging flowers in a small shop window. It was her hair. The same unique auburn shade, the same way it curled at the nape of her neck. My heart stopped. It was a long shot, a crazy, desperate gamble. But it was the first flicker of something other than despair I'd felt in 5 years. I booked a flight that night. The entire journey felt surreal, a waking dream fueled by a potent cocktail of hope and terror. What if it wasn't her? What if it was, but she didn't remember me? What if she'd left on purpose? A million questions swirled in my head. When I finally reached the village, it was exactly like the pictures, quaint, quiet, and timeless. I found the market square, my heart hammering against my ribs. I saw the flower shop, and there she was. She was older, her face etched with lines I didn't recognize, but it was her. The air left my lungs in a rush. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, hidden behind a pillar, just watching her. She moved with a calm, gentle grace, laughing with a customer. She looked happy, content. My world tilted on its axis. I finally gathered the courage and walked towards the shop. The small bell above the door chimed as I entered. She looked up, a polite, customer service smile on her face. "Welcome," she said, in a language I didn't understand. And then her eyes met mine. For a split second, there was nothing. Just a stranger looking at another stranger. My heart sank. And then, I saw it. A flicker of confusion. A tiny furrow in her brow. She tilted her head, the way she always did when she was trying to solve a puzzle. I said her name, a whisper, Alara. Her smile faded. She took a step back, her eyes wide. I'm sorry, she said, her accent thick. "I think you have the wrong person. My name is Ange." But her eyes told a different story. They were full of a fear and a confusion that mirrored my own. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't the end of the mystery. It was just the beginning of a whole new chapter, one that was far more complicated than a simple disappearance. The woman I loved was standing right in front of me, but the person I knew was gone, and I had no idea why. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It's been a long and painful journey, and sharing it helps. If you've ever been through something that's hard to explain, know that you're not alone. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me share more stories with all of you. Take care, and see you next time.